What up, sports fans? This is Jake Waxman.
And Tyler Lavalette.
Coming to you live from the 1 for 10 studios with another Friday Roundtable. Let's get this show on the road. Starting with my good man, Tyler Lavalette.
Thank you, Jake. So the New York Knicks, heading into tomorrow's game against the Boston Celtics at Madison Square Gardens, are up 2-0 against their fellow Northeastern rival. And honestly, I have to say I've seen some interesting behavior between both cities. If you watch Yankees, Red Sox, or Rangers, Bruins, or even any Patriots matchup against the Jets, okay, maybe not that one, but the point is, those two cities definitely do not like each other. The fact that Boston choked away the first two games at home to them, more proof of that. And we have celebratory footage of the Knicks fans having a good time watching the game 2 win on Wednesday night. Can we roll the clip, please?
Looks like it could be Rockefeller Center, or the Plaza Rockefeller Center. I could be wrong. I know that's somewhere out in New York. The fans got a lot to celebrate right now.
Yeah, this was a team that really took the Pistons to 6 games. Out here on that. And New York, it's been a while since we've really seen the Knicks get it all up and exciting.
But then,
the thing is that I really want to get into is try being a casual person that's dating someone that's a sports fan and being in their city for that. It's just, say for example, try and be a Celtics fan in that situation. That's not fun. When the non-sports fan has to be like, why am I in this relationship with this person? It's for non-sports fans. Some of these rivalries and celebratory things and especially when hard to understand, especially when we're talking about getting into altercations. Now, of course, it didn't make into that footage, but the thing is, you might look at it, if you see you're getting into a fight or something, and you're a non-sports fan, you're thinking, this is bad behavior, total red flags. Why? Again, why am I in this?
You know, it could be a lot worse, Tyler. It really could be a lot worse. This could be, trying to put together a Boston Red Sox and a New York Yankees fan. There is no way, and I mean no way, that would work. No way a marriage between those two would work out if it's all about the sports in general.
I mean, yeah, like I said, the non-sports fan would be a little hard to understand, even if you try to convert them all you want. But, yeah, it's not pretty. But, yeah, also not pretty is the Celtics. Paul Pierce had to walk 22 miles in his bathrobe to the Fox studios as punishment for the team loss.
Wait, what? Seriously?
Yeah, no joke. I didn't get footage of that, but true. The longtime Celtic bet on that happening, and as punishment for the fact they guaranteed the Celtics win and it didn't happen, he had to do just that.
Yikes. 22 miles in a bathrobe to get to the studio. That is a long way to go.
Oh.
So,
at least he's a man of his word.
Yeah, at least he did that, but I would take that as a reminder not to write checks that your body can't cash, all right? Or to make bets in this case that you're just going to get absolutely humiliated.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. So, as Tyler mentioned, New York right now, the Knicks looking pretty good right now. And the Celtics, they got some work to do. I mean, we all knew this would be a tough series. And, of course, speaking of this New York-Boston rivalry, not very few, inter-city rivalries that are bigger than this. And right now, the Knicks, all the momentum in their favor right now. The fans right now got plenty to feel good about, especially those who are watching from what I believe was Rockefeller Plaza. or wherever it is in New York they watch from. Knicks, hey. And you know what? Here's another thing to consider. Okay, when it comes to the Knicks fans, all right? People give them a lot of crap, for behaving the way that they do.
Uh-huh.
The thing is, though, hey, when your team hasn't won since, or when your team, the Knicks, considering the Knicks have not won a championship since, I believe, 1973.
Wow.
That's a long time. So it's been oh my goodness. And many of these Knicks fans that you saw in the video weren't alive when the Knicks last won an NBA championship. So it's quite understand. And, it's nice to see him celebrating in a calm manner and a professional, well-behaved manner. Excellent series right now if you're a New York Knickerbockers fan.
Yeah, the thing is, the New York Post showed was carefully selected and well-behaved Knicks fans. Any amateur footage is likely going to show Celtics and Knicks fans not exactly being the best of friends. Something tells me that. I don't have proof, but something tells me.
Yeah, hopefully there wasn't any fights after the game at Madison Square Garden or wherever
in Boston at TD.
Okay.
Garden.
So hopefully there wasn't any fights between fans, and hopefully, same with New York, hopefully nothing but peace, no rioting in the streets or that stuff. Just goodwill behavior.
Please.
Yes. So, hey, yes, we could celebrate when our teams win, but that does not mean we have to create absolute chaos for everyone else. Nice to see that, though, at Rockefeller Plaza. Just fans putting their hands in the air like, heck yeah, let's go Knicks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, go ahead, Tyler.
Yeah, it is really it is really good to see that. And, yeah, like I said, the thing is, as long as nothing bad happens, that's good.
Absolutely. That's the thing. What Tyler is bringing attention to here is, what doesn't get talked a lot about in the media, and that's, sports fans' reactions to sporting events like this. New York Knicks going up 2-0 on the Boston Celtics. We're seeing just how excited Knicks fans are. This might be the best Knicks team that we've seen in a long, long time. They got a chance to really go places this season. And granted, there's a lot of competition out there in the NBA. A lot of good teams, can't overlook the Indiana Pacers, in my opinion.
Nope.
I mean, if it were Knicks and Pacers, that would be a really good Eastern Conference Finals.
With the way they're going up against Cleveland, no less.
Yeah, that's going to be a fantastic series as well. But the thing is, hey, we as fans, we have a duty to celebrate responsibly. We have a duty to not make life a living hell for others, not to, just go out there and enjoy the moment, but in a, well-timed, goodwill manner. And
yeah.
It's nice to see the positive side of fans celebrating.
And then, and of course you got the negative side where people are like, oh, you watch a lot of sports and all, you're letting it consume your life. But, yeah, it's not pretty at times.
Yeah. I've those kind of interactions, okay. I mean, yeah, I watch sports a lot, too. My man Tyler here, we watch a lot of sports, too. That's how I would respond to that. Like, I get it. Mm-hmm. But you know what? This is a part of who we are. Especially for the average sports fan, someone who pays attention to all sports, whether they, even if you do a podcast like me and Tyler or not, these kind of things, sure there are other things in life and more important things in life, which is another reason why, hey, in addition to being able to see what other sports fans see, we also have kind of, like I said, we got a duty to celebrate responsibly, enjoy the moments responsibly. And we don't need, we don't know, and you know what? We don't always need to pull out our phones, record the moment. Okay, I'm guilty of this too. I'll admit this. I record a lot of footage at games. Celebration footage-wise, I don't really do a whole lot of, because sometimes I'd rather just enjoy that moment. I try to enjoy the games as much as I can, whether we win or lose. And especially like when I'm at a Purdue or when Purdue pays a visit to you, the University of Michigan, to play Michigan in basketball, sure, okay, I'll record a lot of footage too. And that's just part of me being a fan and trying to enjoy the moment as much as possible. But I also try not to record too much, especially in the end, because I want to kind of,
enjoy it.
Enjoy it and remember these things up here. So really what Tyler is showing us here is, kind of the other side of sports, maybe the more positive light of being a sports fan. And there's some people that, might not understand, like, what is the big deal for these people who like sports so much? Like, it's just a game. Well, for some of us, hey, okay, so granted it is just a game, but you know what? Sometimes even just a game can mean so much more, as long as we celebrate responsibly.
Very true.
All right. Shifting gears. Okay, there's some news coming out of the Steel City. Some news that, okay, I overlooked this in my Wax on Wednesday vlog. So we're going to talk about sports fans, I'm not making this up. I'm not joking about this. The Pittsburgh Steelers traded away George Pickens, one of their best players. And get this, here's the crazy thing. They traded him to the Dallas Cowboys. That's right, to America's team. The Steelers' biggest rival. The Steelers do not ever trade players to the Dallas Cowboys, because, you know what? This is the Steelers-Cowboys rivalry, for crying out loud. This never happens.
Never say never.
Here we are, though. That's right. So now George Pickens, he's not a Pittsburgh Steeler anymore. He's melted the steel beams in Pittsburgh and is moving on to the Dallas Cowboys. In case you're wondering who I'm talking about, can we see a clip of George Pickens, please? So this is him right here. George Pickens, known for two things. Incredibly ridiculous catches like this one, especially in his time at Pittsburgh, and also a few other things that may not be so positive. So obviously, he's in the news this week. He is going to be a Dallas Cowboy going forward after just 3 seasons in the Steel City.
Dang. That's just not good. I mean, of course, him being seen as a locker room nuisance is definitely not good at all for the team morale. Players and teammates likely just got sick of whatever antics were going on. And when locker room morale is going down the hill, you're going to want to try to figure out the instigators behind it and get rid of them as soon as possible. And clearly, Pickens going to the Cowboys does just that in one area.
Oh, yeah. Talk about, you want to stir up a rivalry? Trade a player to one of your longtime rivals, or in this case, Steelers, Cowboys. This was more of like a Super Bowl rivalry, but a big-time rivalry in NFL history nonetheless. Mm-hmm. Tyler mentioned something really, really interesting. He mentioned that George Pickens stirred up a lot of controversy in the locker room. And you know what, Tyler? I think that is the big reason why Pittsburgh traded him. Some people are surprised by this trade.
Excuse me.
Bless you. Some people even are like, what in the Sam hell are the Pittsburgh Steelers doing? Are they trying to contend or blow it all up all of a sudden in front of our eyes? The thing is, though, there's a reason behind this. To me, it was a little surprising, but knowing George Pickens and considering the fact that when he wasn't catching footballs or making ridiculous catches, he was constantly picking a fight with someone or starting some nonsense on the field with someone or tugging a helmet with someone. Honestly, it's not surprising anymore when you think about it, why Pittsburgh traded him. And you know what? Keep in mind, the Pittsburgh Steelers acquired DK Metcalf in the offseason. They acquired him through free agency or via trade with the Seahawks. Mm-hmm. So that should have been the first. I should have kept this in mind too, along with some others. But the Pittsburgh Steelers, when they acquired DK Metcalf, that was a sign that they were probably going to move on from George Pickens.
Yeah, you should have seen. The writing was definitely on the wall there.
No doubt about that. And here's the thing. So to give you guys the details of this trade. So Steelers, we know the Cowboys, they got George Pickens. Yep. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And oh my goodness, he's going to be on the same field as CeeDee Lamb. That could be very, very dangerous.
Oh boy.
So the Cowboys, they got George Pickens and I believe a 6th-round pick. In exchange, the Steelers get a 3rd-round pick for next year. And then 2027, they get a 5th-round pick. So seems like a decent trade for both sides. Mm-hmm. Dallas gets the wide receiver threat they've been looking for to pair up with CeeDee Lamb. And, of course, that Pittsburgh, they finally get they get rid of the locker room controversy. They get rid of all the fights that Pickens has started, and all, and even at Georgia, he was starting some fights, and at Pittsburgh, no different. There was a brawl when he wasn't doing well.
Yeah. Fights and altercations like that don't actually give NFL players a good reputation whatsoever. And not every team wants to embrace such actions as a positive thing. It's not hard to see why.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Okay. Then here's the thing. Now, I don't know if anybody else has thought about this, but here we go again. The Pittsburgh Steelers and acquiring talented but character issue-binded wide receivers. A tale as old as time. Days of our Steelers, anyone?
If you follow a certain Pittsburgh-based YouTuber by the name of Urinating Tree back in 2018, you would know his use of the Days of Our Lives theme music in certain instances during that season and a Steelers run campaign.
And by the way, I would recommend following U-Tree for all you sports fans that watch sports on YouTube and you just want to watch something funny. This guy is hilarious, so I recommend following him. And he's a big Steelers fan, as Tyler mentioned, and yet he spent a lot of these videos he's made are literally ripping into his favorite team, the Pittsburgh Steelers.
They blocked him on Twitter for reasons unknown.
Wow. And you know what? I think that knowing Tree, he would probably take that with a grain of honor.
Oh, he did. He started the DOS episode with mentioning that.
That's right.
Yeah. I don't see him announcing a pick at the NFL draft next year.
Neither do I. But still, he put the content that Urinating Tree puts out there. Amazing sports content.
Yep. Great guy.
And I will, before we move on from this subject, so I'm going to provide you guys a real quick list of wide receivers that Pittsburgh has had that were talented but had some issues behind the scenes. Of course, we got to start with Antonio Brown. Okay, everybody knows this whole story. I don't need to mention it. This guy sadly self-destructed. Had the potential to be a Hall of Famer and just self-destructed his own career due to bad behavior.
Oh, boy.
Yep. Another guy that I want to mention is Martavis Bryant. Okay? Very talented wide receiver as well. Could have been out of Clemson. Could have been a really could have had a really lengthy career. But you know what? He unfortunately ended up in a rather toxic relationship with Mary Jane. Or in other words, he smoked too much weed, to say the least.
Boy. Yeah, I've seen that one before.
Yeah, and then there's Chase Claypool. Okay, Claypool, could have been a really good wide receiver as well, but had some work ethic issues. And shame on my Bears for learning this the hard way. We traded to get him. I don't know why we did. I never understood that trade. And that trade blew up in the Bears' face as well because his work ethic issues carried over from the Steelers to the Chicago Bears. Some might even mention Juju Smith-Schuster, but that guy's still playing in the NFL, so props to him. I think things just didn't work out in Pittsburgh.
Sometimes you just need a reset.
Yep, I think that was the case.
Le'Veon Bell, was he I know he was a cancerous player back in with the
he was a
Steelers.
running back.
Okay.
But still, you could put him in the same category as these guys because he had some issues too. Kind of started, and you know what? People forget. Antonio Brown and Le'Veon Bell had something in common. Both tried to start a rap career that went absolutely nowhere.
Ouch.
And now add George Pickens to this list. Still can be a great wide receiver. Thought he might find some success in Pittsburgh, but you know what? He decided that, if the football's not coming my way, I'd rather just pick a fight with somebody. And that he did. He could be a great player in Dallas if he stops looking for a fight and works hard in Dallas and works hard on his craft and blocking down the field. I've heard he's had issues blocking, especially for the Steelers. Mm-hmm. There was a reason why he slipped down to the second round, and it was because of this attitude that he carries, and he still has it. So,
Big boy.
yep. Again, hope he finds success in Dallas, but if he's then this trade could work out for the Cowboys if George Pickens cleans up his act and stops fighting people, whether it's his own teammates or the opposition. That's all I got to say there. Good Lord.
Asking for trouble, and you'll do fine.
It's that simple, you know? And I mean, we all struggle with those who gain stardom, they'll struggle with it. Just some sadly more than others. George Pickens is struggling with the stardom a bit. And for these reasons, that's why I think Pittsburgh traded him to Dallas. Now, trading him to Dallas, Steeler fans are going to be like, this is blasphemous. They're our rivals.
There are some that are saying good riddance, so it evens out.
Yep. Shifting gears. Now we're going to go to hockey. Can we roll clip, please? That's right. Stanley Cup Playoffs continuing to roll in full force and with a whole lot of speed. Here we're going to start talking about the Dallas Stars and the Winnipeg Jets. Here's a good goal for Dallas. Of course, Dallas, they broke a curse in Game 1 against the Jets. They had not won a Game 1 in, I think, 8 straight playoff series. And finally, they get that monkey off their back, and they're off to a 1-0 start against the Jets. So, Winnipeg Jets, they'll be looking to bounce back in Game 2. They've got... Like I said, they're going to have their hands full, this Stars team. This Stars team, lots of talent. So if the Jets could start faster in this game, they'll have a chance to tie this series up and ride the momentum of the whiteout, as we call it. Best home ice advantage in the NHL so far in this playoffs, or at least the best remaining home ice advantage. But a lot for the Winnipeg Jets to do going in this game. They just need to start fast, full afterburner for the full 60, and you do all those things right. Take care of the puck and start faster than the Stars and finish faster. All right, tied series going back to Dallas.
Yep, we'll just see what happened. I mean, this is the President's Trophy winning team we're talking about here. So they've got a very ginormous curse hanging over them as the winner of that trophy. It's not pretty.
It's a lot of pressure that comes with it. Having the home ice. And the Jets, they got to defend that home ice. And here's the thing. I also mentioned this when they went against the Blues, okay? They got to ride that moment where they tied the game with 1.6 seconds left. Ride the momentum of that moment. That belief, that confidence that you have. The Jets, they need to bring that back in Game 2. They need to gain that back. Be come into this game confident. All right, you're at home. Relax, and then don't even think about the pressure or the President's Trophy. Just think about Game 2. All right, and keep riding that momentum from that one of the best Game 7s I've ever seen.
Absolutely.
The Jets can do that. They're going to be just fine. I mean, they're not in any sort of trouble just yet. Just got to refocus for Game 2 against a very talented and very powerful Dallas Stars team.
That's super important. We should probably also mention some of the other series, shall we?
Go for it.
I know the Vegas Golden Knights and Edmonton Oilers look like the Oilers are doing pretty well so far, it seems.
Absolutely. The Oilers. Okay, the Edmonton Oilers, call them the comeback kids, because it seems like they rally, like the opposition scores first, and then they're just like, we're going to rally right ahead. And it's almost kind of like right now the Oilers, they want their opposition to start fast to give them a reason to just play at full octane for like the rest of the game, like second and third period. But the Oilers right now, their offense is well oiled. Okay, no pun intended. But,
Okay.
But they look strong right now. And in that overtime against Vegas fought hard in Game 2. In that overtime, though, Edmonton was all over the Golden Knights defense. They were everywhere. They were getting pucks in it. They were crashing in it, crashing the boards, completing their checks. And and with those efforts, they got rewarded. And they ended up winning Game 2 last night in overtime. 5-4 was the final score. And now Edmonton, heading it into the series now shifts to Edmonton. And the Oilers' next 2 games on home ice. That's going to be huge. And taking 2 on the road. That's huge for Edmonton, and they are. They look like a team. Now I'm going to try not to jinx them, but they're a team. They're a Stanley Cup contender right now. They look on fire.
And that's just the Western Conference. We got the Eastern Conference as well. Who gave Toronto this good team? For example, look at how they're doing against Florida. Against the Stanley Cup champions, and now they're going to be going down to Florida on a high.
Absolutely, like Tyler mentioned, who in the heck are these Toronto Maple Leafs? They look so composed. They look focused, and no matter how close the game gets, they're in control. That is how it has looked. Of course, granted, they've had home ice the first 2 games, but this is a different Maple Leafs team than what I've seen in the past. There's a lot more composure. And keep in mind, last year, the Panthers humiliated the Leafs. Obviously, the Maple Leafs, they were going for it all last year after finally winning the series, and then Florida brings them back down to reality, forces them to crash back down to reality. Well, right now, if there is a different kind of reality, it hasn't hit the Maple Leafs just yet. Right now, different Maple Leafs team. They're in control right now. They got a whole lot of momentum. The biggest thing is toughness. That's the big difference. The Leafs are bringing toughness into this series. They are matching the toughness of the Florida Panthers. Like the Panthers, they're playing well too, despite being down 0-2, but the Maple Leafs have been able to match that toughness and that energy that Florida likes to play with. And whenever Florida scores a goal, Toronto has had an answer almost each and every time. Right back down the ice, and they score again. And it's enough to... And as of right now, what the Leafs have been doing with this toughness that they've been playing with, it has been enough to get them a 2-0 lead. And right now, this might be the most poised I've ever seen a Toronto Maple Leafs team look.
And lastly, we cannot ignore the Capitals series against the Hurricanes.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is an intriguing series. I mean, first game was dominated by the Hurricanes of Carolina. Second game, Capitals right back at you in grade A.
Nice, nice.
I tell you what, with the series now heading to Carolina, it wouldn't surprise me if this is a series that goes to 7 and both teams split the 2 games in Carolina, with possibly the Capitals taking Game 3 or the Hurricanes taking Game 3. That, I think, is going to be a critical game. Game 3, they say, is the most important one, especially in this series that's tied up at 1-1, because I think a lot of times Game 3 decides who's going to win the series, depending on who wins that game. So, critical game for both of these sides as of right now. It's a series that can go either way. A lot of talent on the Hurricanes. Of course, the Capitals, they got the grade 8. And you know what? As long as they got the grade 8, they have a chance.
I mean, and we're not saying that the other 3 series can't go 7 games just because there's a 1-0 or a 2-0 advantage on one side. A lot can and will happen.
Yes, sir. And you know what? Before we shift gears, so one final thought for the Edmonton and the Vegas series. Okay, a lot of people are saying Vegas got kind of hosed a bit on a no call. I mean, there was a guy for the Golden Knights in overtime who got shoved from behind and into the boards, and I thought this probably should have been a penalty. But hey, Vegas can say that all they want, but right now this Golden Knights team, okay, can't focus on blaming the referees too much. You're just gonna have to figure out how to bounce back in Edmonton for games 3 and 4. Gonna need a lot of focus because right now this Edmonton team has been flying all over the Golden Knights. And as powerful as the Golden Knights are right now on offense, Edmonton, they just got a lot more oil in their system right now. They're all systems go for the Oilers.
Yep. That it is.
Yep. And by the way, on a side note, and this is, you could say, shifting topics a little bit. So, the Utah Hockey Club has a new name.
We can finally kick that name to the curb.
What is it, Tyler? What's the new name? Tell our audience.
Okay. This was unveiled a few days ago. They are now to be called the Utah Mammoth. No plural, no S, just Mammoth. Can we show the branding footage?
So this right here, this is their official home jersey that you're looking at. From the stripes to the number font. That's their official logo. Man, that's a beautiful logo, too. The mountains on top of that mammoth. And this is their alternate logo, being the state of Utah. Like the hockey stick addition to that. And then another shot of the jersey. Really like their uniforms, too. Nothing too different from like what the Utah Hockey Club is doing. Just a couple of refurbishments. Adding a new logo, of course, being the biggest of them.
Look, proper branding is key here. The fact that they got the color scheme right there ensures that we have something to go with now that we can use as a base.
Yes.
Yeah, they can't use Yeti, but Mammoth's still a nice, good one. Nothing to complain too much about. Although I've got a question: why no S? Why aren't they Mammoths? I mean, you got the Nashville Predators, right?
You know what, Tyler? I don't get it either. Like, okay, just the mammoth? We can't use mammoths? You don't want it to be plural? You'd rather just be one ginormous mammoth of a team then? Okay, fine. You know, I mean, I got questions about that too, but you know what? It's not my call to make. Either way, I mean, I like the new look. I like the logo. I mean, and the alternate logo featuring like the silhouette of the state of Utah. That's a really cool look too. And I love the black jerseys with the light blue and the white. Like everything about it, you know. Of course, I don't. Again, like Tyler, just don't know how I feel about it being the word being single as opposed to plural. Like, what's wrong with mammoths? That's the only question I have. But you know what? Really excited for the Utah Mammoth and their fans, and, you know, hockey fans across the state of Utah, excited for them. You got an exciting new product. And now you got the Delta Center sharing team. You got two teams sharing the Delta Center. You got the Utah Jazz and the Utah Mammoth. Interesting. Okay, Jazz and Mammoth. It's interesting, the fact that these are two objects that are, okay, different.
Yeah. And also, I have to say, I hope it almost fun if Salt Lake City gets a hot bait. If Salt Lake City's in the contention for a future baseball team when Manfred launches expansion plans. We'll see. Portland's competent. We'll see if there's any good market on the East Coast that could really be good as well, like Nashville or Orlando. We'll see about if Salt Lake gets a team or not. We'll see.
Absolutely. Look, I like it when smaller cities or smaller sports markets are added to basically the main base of each and every major sports league. You know, whether it's baseball, hockey, the NBA, or the NFL. You know, Utah, hey, or Salt Lake City, they're getting some teams, all right? This is just another step forward for them. And to have it's perfect. A hockey team out in Utah. And it does get cold sometimes out in Utah, and let alone Salt Lake City. So, pretty prime location for a brand new hockey team. And on one final note, I really hope that the Mammoth and the Predators become great rivals. I mean, the battle of, okay, call me crazy, battle of prehistoric creatures or creatures that existed maybe during the Ice Age. Predators, Mammoth, perfect grounds for a prime rivalry.
If you watch the film franchise Ice Age, something is missing. Sloth.
That's exactly what we need. The next, if the NHL decides to expand again, sloths. Whether it's out in Canada, come on.
Come on.
Or just sloth.
Yeah, come on, guys.
Crazy stuff.
Come on, let's have some fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
More fun it is.
All right, so there you go. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Utah Mammoth to the National Hockey League. And I wish them all the best in their time as a member of the National Hockey League. May the wind be to their backs, and may the ice be nice and frozen for them.
Absolutely.
All right, before we close out the show, we just have one final thing we'd like to get to. So, for those of you who may not have heard, and I know it may seem like it doesn't relate to sports, we have a new pope, officially.
This has happened after it took 2 days and 5 rounds in the secret conclave voting in the Sistine Chapel to get to it, too. Not the fastest, but fairly quick at that to get white smoke on the second full day.
Absolutely, that was really, really quick. And how about this? Ladies and gentlemen, the new pope is from the United States of America. He is the first American elected pope in the history of mankind.
And this is where things get pretty cool. He is, Pope Leo XIV now hails from Chicago. Also had ties to Villanova as well. But there was an intense debate on which of Chicago's baseball teams he supported. Initial reporting by ABC News claimed in the irony of Cardinals voting a Cub made it seem like he supported the Northsiders. However, reporting by interviewed with his brother indicated that him being on the South Side meant he was a Sox fan. The White Sox, both teams did congratulate the new pope with celebratory messages on their respective boards. Although the Cubs are likely now to take theirs down because it turned out not to be true. But the White Sox are set to send Pope Leo a custom jersey and hat. He is definitely welcomed at Wright Field if he makes a trip to his hometown to throw out the first pitch.
Mm-hmm. Talk about a whirlwind of events to go through. I was kind of hoping he'd be a Cubs fan, but it doesn't bother me too much.
Nah.
I mean, rivalries aside, happy for Pope Leo the 14th. I wish him all the best, and hopefully, this spiritual journey that he's about to go on, I hope it is one that he can, in which he helps the world itself see more of the light. But
let's bring up have a few little jokes while we're at it.
Oh boy,
this took one less day than Shadir Sanders is drafting.
Oh, I got one for you too. Here's a good one, and one that a lot of people are putting out there. The city of Chicago put out a newly elected pope before they had a 4,000-yard quarterback.
Yeah, Chicago native Annie Agar started that one on Twitter as well, and she's from Grand Rapids, mind you. But still, that one is really gaining traction.
That was a really good one, and yeah, she's a Packers fan. That's the one thing I disagree with her on, being a Bears fan, but the content she puts out there is really, really good. So I would.
And being from Lions territory on the west side of the state of Michigan.
Her brother's a Lions fan, too.
So, is there any Viking connection to complete this NFC North situation for this woman?
In all seriousness, that was a really good joke. And, I mean, it's true. We had a pope from Chicago before Caleb Williams became a 4,000-yard quarterback.
Or even when GTA 6 came out, because that game now got pushed to March.
We are still waiting for that game. GTA's shoot.
Come on, Rock. Okay, Rockstar, you take your time. Take your time. I get it. We're just having fun.
Absolutely. Oh, man.
Yeah. On a serious note, though, again, congrats to Pope Leo. Congrats to the city of Chicago for producing another prominent son to live in high position along with Obama. And I wish him the best.
Absolutely. And I will say to Pope Leo, may God be with you all the days in your life as Pope and beyond. All right, sports fans, that's all we got for this week's Wax on Wednesday. I want to special thanks again to everyone in the studio, to Josh, to Whitney, and of course, special thanks to my man Tyler over here, who works so hard to help this show become the best or all it can be. Grateful for that. Thank you, Tyler.
Absolutely. We could not have done without any of those hardworking people. And as Jake mentioned, if you have comments and questions, we would more than be happy to respond to them in the future if you're so inclined to ask.
Absolutely. Special thanks once more to Mary, who has helped us do the best that we can. And again, follow us on Facebook at Two Guys Talk Sports, and follow us on YouTube, Two Guys Talk Sports and other things. Sports fans, we hope you have a good week. This is Jake Waxman
And Tyler Lavalette.
signing off.